On today's episode, we're going to talk about the things that the United States can learn from Germany. Stay tuned to find out what. Hallöchen Lieblings, I'm Madi, science fiction and fantasy author who's been living in southern Germany since 2014. If you've already seen my video of things I have missed from the United States while living in Germany, I thought it best to sit down and tell you about the luxuries I have enjoyed while living in Germany. And there are things that I think my fellow Americans can also really benefit from. But before we get started, hit the subscribe button and ring the bell if you haven't already. Here on Adventures of Lamadi, we talk about writing, living abroad, and everything in between. So let's get on to the list. Number 1, the Big King sandwich from Burger King. Did you really think that this was going to be like a really serious list? For all you Germans out there, FYI, the Big King does not exist in the United States. And it's kind of like mind-blowing when you think about it, but no, we don't have it, and I don't understand why. And for the non-Germans, actually I don't know if it's in other countries outside of Germany, like other Burger Kings outside of Germany, but at least in Germany it's there. And what a Big King is imagine a Whopper making sweet, sweet lovin' to a Big Mac. Oh, it's so good. It's so good. I can really go for one right now. Number 2, windows. I really do love fresh air, and I do like the, like how in Germany the whole like opening of the windows and, airing out the buildings, except in like the middle of dead winter, like that. Well, I mean, I will say that really annoyed me a lot, especially when people would just come in and just like open the window and then just leave the room and leave the window open. Like, unless you're going to be sitting here for a while, that's just rude, but whatever. I do like that. I actually do notice a difference sometimes, like if the air is actually stale. And I think that is, in the US we don't necessarily need it because we do have like air ducts, and I think also because we don't have stone houses, we have wood houses, so they breathe a little better. I will admit, like with our houses here, I remember in our apartment in Überlingen, we had new windows installed, and we actually did have to leave a window open pretty much all the time because when we didn't, we would actually get fungus growing, which is really bad, obviously. But you don't see that in the United States. The only time you would see that is say if like the insulation got wet or something, something inside got wet and it was impossible for it to get dry. But in Germany, it was literally because like in that specific area, it was because it was in a part of the house where like cold air would come, and then there's the the warm air from inside, and then it just, I don't know, mold would grow there. It was kind of gross, but yeah, that's not something, like I said, that's not something I have seen that often in the States. But I'm getting off topic, but I do really like how the windows work. Whether you can put them to the side and open them completely, or move the handle upwards and tilt them open, which is just really nice. Especially if you saw my last video, how much I miss American air conditioning. Having these kind of windows is vital. Except the only thing I don't understand is like how you can have this amazing invention of German windows and not have figured out how, like, why you haven't implemented screens. I live in an area that has a horrible, horrible mosquito infestation every single year without fail. And for them, it's just like, oh, we just don't have screens. We have to leave the windows open. I'm like, what? I don't understand this. You guys have developed enough to be able to invent these American windows. What the hell? These German windows, these amazing, glorious German windows. But you couldn't think far enough ahead to be able to also implement screens. Like my husband had to build a screen to like that we can just pop into our window, which has been a lifesaver, especially this last summer, because it was so hot, and like just not having the windows open was not an option. But I'm allergic to the mosquito bites. Like I get so itchy, I made myself bleed from them. Like and I know some Germans will say, yes, you can buy, like you can have them installed and blah, blah, blah. Like in the United States, screened windows are a normal part of the house. None of this like, oh, it's optional. With the mosquito infestation in this area, it shouldn't be optional. It should also just be normal. But, I'm talking about how much what Germany could, what the United States can learn from Germany, but I'm bitching about this because, man, with screens, man. Because the screens that we bought before from like Obi and stuff, one gust of wind and the screen would fall down. They were cheap and they were crap. They don't really work. But anyway, as much as I'm bitching about like the whole screen thing, everything else about German windows are just amazing. And any of my American, you know, family members or friends that have come to Germany and they've seen these windows at work, they're just like, why have we not brought these to the States? Like, I don't know, guys. I don't know why America has not gotten its head out of its ass and recognized the gloriousness that is German windows. But one day, hopefully one day, you will be able to experience the amazingness that is a German window. Number 3, Thermes. I love water. And I love a pool, and I love like the summer feeling of being in a pool, and I love how in Germany the thermes are open year round, so even in the dead of winter you can go and kind of like have a little getaway, and it's so nice. It's so nice, and like I don't understand why that's not in the States, man. I don't understand it. It's such a I've even started enjoying sauna culture. Like, granted, it's usually when it's just either when I'm with my girlfriends or with just my husband, but I really enjoy it, especially when there's a bar in the pool. I'm looking at you, butts in time. So glorious. Love it. Number 4, healthcare. Honestly, if you're interested, I can make an entire video on why Americans, like our mentality is like very counterintuitive to the idea of socialized healthcare. I mean, granted, Germany's not necessarily socialized healthcare, but there is like, you know, everybody has healthcare, and then there's also the option for private healthcare. Like, so it's not completely socialized, but you know what I mean? Like, but the fact that healthcare is affordable and, you know, people don't go bankrupt, and you don't hear these horror stories of people having to ration their insulin because it's so expensive, even though there's no patent on it. It shouldn't, like, these companies are getting 100% profit from, oh, good. Okay. But if you're interested in learning about, from my experiences as an American, why our American culture and our mentality, like why we don't have it, for the German audiences out there, if you are interested, it would be a deep dive that nobody asked for, but if you are interested in it, let me know in the comments below. I will do a deep dive on why it is so hard for Americans to accept universal healthcare. Number 5, recycling. Now, I mean, the United States is very big. There are plenty of places. Ironically, you see more recycling and actually like better implemented recycling programs in democratic voting states or counties, and you don't see that in Republican. Is there a correlation? Perhaps. Where I went to school in Indiana University in Bloomington, Indiana, I mean, like, Indiana itself is a red state. It is very Republican, and granted, even that right there is where I'm wrong, because Indianapolis is a very blue city, but their recycling program is shit. At least they have something though, but it still requires you to like physically go and drop off your recycling in a specific place. And I know like in Ravensburg, you do the same thing as well. So I know that also is in Germany. So at least they have something. In a lot of other places, like I said, in red voting areas, usually you have to pay for recycling. So that is like a negative incentive. Nobody wants to do that. Nobody wants to pay for recycling, logically. In Bloomington, they did a really good job. Recycling was free. They picked it up every 2 weeks in front of your house. It had to be in like a clear bucket so they can see what you had in there, so you weren't trying to like smuggle anything else out. And trash, you did have to pay for. You had to buy these trash stickers and you put them on your trash bag. And of course, your trash bag can only be so big and blah, blah, blah. And it was only like $1 per sticker. So it wasn't like that much, but it did incentivize people because you didn't want to pay to have, you know, for each bag. You wanted to lessen that. So you tried to find ways, and the recycling was free. So why not get rid of this stuff? So that sort of program. And in Germany, a lot of that is very similar. You pay for trash and recycling is free. At least that's how my husband puts it. If I'm wrong, let me know in the comments below. I could easily be wrong. And I'm sure I'll find out like 5 minutes after I posted this video. But like I said, in Bloomington, that's how it worked out. Recycling is free, trash you paid for, and it works really well. I just wish more of America adopted that practice because our landfills are disgusting. Number 6, a healthier alcohol culture. Now, first off, you do have to realize, like, a lot of people are always like, why, you know, is the drinking age 21? And it's purely tax dollars related, unfortunately. I mean, the people who made the laws, of course, you know, wanted to get moral about this shit. I say moral because, you know, we all know this is stupid. But it actually, the drinking age in the United States used to also be 18, like in Germany. I mean, for everything, not, you know, like in Germany, it's drinking beer and wine at 16 and then hard alcohol at 18. In the United States, it was like everything at 18 until the National Minimum Drinking Age Act that was implemented in 1984. And so it's actually fairly recently that they have pushed states to raise their minimum drinking age from 18 to 21, because if they didn't, then they would lose funding for their highway systems. I'm sure you're watching this video and you're like, what kind of stupid shit is this? And trust me, I agree. But by raising that, you know, and making alcohol such a taboo, especially with teenagers, and especially with teenagers going to college at 18, 19 years old, you're just asking for them to be like, to go crazy and shit when they get to college. Oh, and a quick thing. So, like, it wasn't just losing funding, it would lose 10% of highway funding. But still, the fact that they were like, the highways were held hostage because, oh, drinking age needs to be 21. Like, that's like the stupidest reason. And I really don't like this because for an example, one of my really good friends, he joined the Navy when he was 17. And when he was about 19, 20, he was about 20 because I was 19. He went and he did his first tour in Iraq. He was a combat medic. And, you know, his job was to take care of all of his soldiers. Thankfully, not only did he survive, but everyone in his unit, which was fantastic. Very happy for him. Good times. But as they, you know, took their ship from the United States to Iraq, they stopped over in Spain. And their commanding officers told them, you cannot drink if you're under 21. And it's like, these kids are gonna go and, like, they're considered old enough to be able to vote and to fight for their country and die for their country, but they can't fucking drink? Like, what? Just, what? It's just, ugh. It really, stupid. And I see so many parents that they push so hard for this, like, taboo alcohol culture that when their kids go to college, like, they go fucking nuts. I went to a school, Indiana University, which has won awards for being a party school. They earned it. And I have very distinct memories of having to hear the ambulance, like when I was living on campus, hearing the ambulance almost on a daily basis because some dumbass decided to just drink themselves into alcohol poisoning because nobody taught them or nobody gave them a safe space to experiment, not to the point where they could kill themselves. Because, like, Americans are also a very one-up culture, so the whole idea of, like, peer pressure, because I experienced it a lot in college as well. We're like, oh, you should drink this or drink this, and I'm like, no, I don't feel like it. Oh, really? Oh, are you a bitch? And stuff. Like, I actually had to deal with that peer pressure in college, and it really pissed me off because I'm like, no, fuck off. It really bothered me because my parents were very much like, no, I was exposed to alcohol when I was younger, and I was always, you know, made sure that I was in a safe space. I was, you know, they trusted me to be able to, like, not make a complete, like, not hurt myself, but yeah, I mean, like, getting a hangover, whatever. Like, so when I went to college and I go to this school that has a reputation for being a party school, I never felt the need to prove myself because, you know, yeah, I was still learning my limits. I mean, it wasn't like I was a professional, which hell, I still don't know my limits. But anyway, like, I never got myself to the, like, like I said, this whole competitive, like Americans are very competitive with everything. We have to make everything a competition. And unfortunately, we make drinking a competition. And when you're not, when you're going to college for the first time and good grief. You know what? I realize I am making this could be a whole video on American drinking culture. I'm going to stop right now because I can go on and on and on. If you are interested in learning more about American drinking culture, let me know in the comments below and I will do another deep dive that nobody asked for. And last but not least, number 7, maternity leave. I really don't like that in the United States there is no law that guarantees maternity leave. So, I mean, we do have the FMLA, which is a Family Medical Leave Act or something like that, which does allow up to 12 weeks. I don't remember if it's unpaid. I have yet to have a child. I think you did get paid, so I'm not, I can't really talk about my experiences for it. But I can tell you that the overall culture, which also ties into healthcare and how expensive it is, having a child in the United States is very difficult. It is very, very difficult, both financially and mentally, because you do have to go back to work after so few months. It is very unfortunate, and that's if you're fortunate, if your job allows it, essentially. And granted, Germany has its own problems with it as well, but I mean, it's different. There are other issues afoot in Germany when it comes to maternity leave and whatnot, but at least you have it. At least you have it. And I feel like it's such a basic right. And especially when you have, like the conservative parties that are just like, oh, we need to have babies because the United States is going to a negative birth rate. We don't have enough, like, especially with the boomers, like on their way out, we're not having enough people to eventually fill in the workplace. So, especially my generation, we all studied university. There's not enough people taking up blue collar jobs, and we need those jobs to be filled as well. Those are just as important. But when it's so expensive to have a child, or you can't even guarantee that you'll have a job, yeah. Germany, we got a lot of good things going on here, and they are big reasons why I came to Germany, and I'm very glad I live here. And even my parents, as much as they miss me, they see a lot of these luxuries and they think, and they've even said to me, I get it. It's just a shame that it's so far away from home. I really want like teleportation to like happen so I can like be home in like 5 seconds, because then literally my life would be perfect where I can go home more often. I do love coming home to the States. I love it. I love being home in the States, but I cannot ignore the fact that I have a pretty sweet life here in Germany, so I'm not going anywhere. And that's it. Thank you for joining me. If you're new here, please consider subscribing. Give this video a thumbs up. It lets me and YouTube know you like content like this and you want to see more. If you have any comments, questions, or topics you'd like to see on this channel, please let me know in the comments below. The God Queen is available in both ebook and paperback. I have links for everything concerning the book in the description below. And don't forget to connect with me on social media, whether it is through Facebook, Instagram, or Twitter. And that's it for today. Until next time, adieu!